Have you ever wondered how America was discovered? Let's journey back to the late 15th century, to an era of exploration and discovery. Our protagonist is a determined Italian explorer named Christopher Columbus. A man with a dream, a vision that would forever change our understanding of the world. Columbus was not just an explorer, but a dreamer. He dreamt of finding a new route to the riches of Asia. Europe was seeking an alternative to the trade routes controlled by the Ottomans in the Middle East. Columbus believed that the solution lay to the west, a shorter route to Asia that bypassed the Middle East entirely. His vision was daring, audacious even, but it found support in the royal court of Spain. Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand saw the potential in Columbus's plan. They backed him, providing him with the resources he needed to embark on his ambitious journey. It was a bold gamble, a leap of faith into the unknown. The preparations for the voyage were both meticulous and arduous. Columbus and his crew readied themselves for a journey that was fraught with uncertainties and dangers. They would be sailing into uncharted waters, guided only by their courage and their belief in Columbus's vision. Finally, the day of departure arrived. On August 3, 1492, Columbus and his crew set sail from the Spanish port of Palos. They embarked with 3 ships, the Santa Maria, the Pinta, and the Nina. As they sailed off into the horizon, they carried with them the hopes and aspirations of an entire continent. Their destination was unknown, their journey fraught with peril. But their spirits were high, their determination unyielding. They were driven by the promise of discovery, by the lure of the unknown, by the prospect of a new world beyond the horizon. And so, Columbus and his crew embarked on their historic voyage, on a journey that would forever change our understanding of the world. They sailed into the unknown, into the pages of history. With this, Columbus and his crew embarked on a journey that would change the course of history. The journey across the Atlantic was anything but smooth. As they ventured further from the familiar shores of Europe, Columbus and his crew found themselves in uncharted waters. The vast, seemingly endless expanse of the Atlantic Ocean stretched out before them, a world away from the comfort and certainty of home. Columbus's fleet, led by the flagship Santa Maria, was not designed for the open ocean. These were small, sturdy vessels built for coastal sailing, not the pounding waves and unpredictable currents of the Atlantic. Yet they pressed onward, their sails billowing in the wind, their course set by the stars above. The journey was fraught with challenges. Storms were a constant threat, their howling winds and towering waves testing the mettle of the ships and their crew. There were times when the horizon disappeared entirely, swallowed by the churning sea, leaving them in a world of gray, their only guide the heaving rhythm of the ocean. Discontent began to brew among the crew as days turned into weeks with no land in sight. Doubts crept in, whispering in the ears of the sailors. Had Columbus miscalculated? Were they sailing into oblivion, destined to perish in this watery wilderness? Uncertainty became their constant companion. Every day was a gamble, every decision a roll of the dice. But Columbus remained steadfast. He soothed the fears of his crew, assuring them that their journey had purpose, that their sacrifices would not be in vain. Food and water supplies dwindled, adding another layer of tension. The monotony of the journey, the isolation, the fear, it all took a toll on their morale. But they had to press on. Turning back was not an option. They had a mission to accomplish, a dream to fulfill. And so, despite the storms, despite the discontent, despite the uncertainty, they pressed on. They clung to their faith, their hope, their shared vision of discovery. The promise of a new world, of untapped riches, and the allure of the unknown kept them going. Yet despite these challenges, they pressed on, driven by the promise of discovery. On October 12, 1492, after more than 2 months at sea, land was finally sighted. Imagine the elation aboard the Santa Maria, Pinta, and the Nina as the crew laid eyes on an island in the present-day Bahamas. Columbus, convinced that he had successfully navigated a western route to Asia, believed he had reached the East Indies. The landscape was unlike anything the Europeans had ever seen. Tropical, lush, and teeming with life, it was a stark contrast to the arduous journey they had endured. As they stepped onto the shores, they were greeted by the native inhabitants whom Columbus named Indians, operating under the mistaken belief that he had arrived in India. The encounter with the natives was a meeting of 2 vastly different cultures. Columbus and his crew, with their European customs and attire, must have appeared as alien to the natives as the natives seemed to them. Despite the language barrier and cultural differences, Columbus and his crew managed to establish a rapport with the indigenous people, trading goods and ideas. Columbus didn't stop at this island. His thirst for exploration drove him onwards, leading him to visit other islands in the Caribbean, including Cuba and Hispaniola. He marveled at the diversity of the landscapes and the richness of the resources he found. Each new island was a testament to the vastness and diversity of this new world. Yet, throughout his explorations, Columbus never wavered from his belief that he was in Asia. He was convinced he had found a new route to the East Indies, a shortcut to the riches of the Orient. Little did he know that he had stumbled upon a landmass entirely unknown to the Europeans, the Americas. Though he had not reached Asia as he had intended, Columbus had opened a new world to European exploration. His voyages marked the beginning of a new era, one that would reshape the course of history and set the stage for the eventual discovery and settlement of what we now know as the United States. Columbus's voyages were significant, but they were just the beginning. The determined Italian explorer returned to the New World several times, each voyage expanding his knowledge of the lands he had stumbled upon. His second expedition was larger, comprising 17 ships and over 1,000 men. This time Columbus explored more of the Caribbean, charting territories such as the present-day Puerto Rico and Jamaica. His subsequent voyages took him further afield, even as far south as the coast of Central America. He never reached the mainland of North America, but his voyages had a profound impact on the world. Columbus's journeys opened the door to the widespread European exploration and the eventual conquest and colonization of the Americas. The legacy of Columbus's voyages is a tapestry of discovery and exploration, but it's also interwoven with stories of conflict and upheaval. The arrival of Europeans brought about the displacement and decimation of indigenous populations due to diseases, warfare, and forced labor. The cultural, political, and ecological landscapes of the Americas were forever transformed. Yet Columbus's voyages also marked the beginning of an era of increased global connectivity. The exchange of goods, ideas, and people between the Old World and the New, known as the Columbian Exchange, had profound implications for the world. Foods like corn, potatoes, and tomatoes were introduced to Europe, while horses, cattle, and wheat made their way to the Americas. This exchange of goods and ideas reshaped societies on both sides of the Atlantic and beyond. The story of Columbus's voyages is a complex one, intertwined with the larger narrative of human exploration and expansion. It's a tale of bold exploration, devastating consequences, and transformative impact. While Columbus never set foot on what would become the United States, his voyages set the stage for its eventual discovery and colonization. His legacy serves as a reminder of the profound and far-reaching effects of exploration, for better or for worse. And so, the story of the discovery of America continues to unfold, shaped by the echoes of that fateful voyage in 1492. So, how was America discovered? The discovery of America was not a singular event, but a series of explorations, interactions, and settlements that spanned over centuries. The story that most of us are familiar with is the tale of Christopher Columbus, the Italian explorer who dared to sail west in search of a new route to Asia. His journey, funded by the Spanish monarchs, Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand, was a turning point in world history. Columbus and his crew embarked on their voyage in late summer of 1492, aboard 3 ships named the Santa Maria, the Pinta, and the Nina. After enduring numerous challenges, they finally spotted land on October 12th, an island in the present-day Bahamas. Columbus, believing he had reached Asia, named the indigenous people he encountered Indians. But the story doesn't end there. Columbus made several return trips to the New World, each time expanding his understanding of the lands he had discovered. However, it's important to remember that Columbus never actually set foot on the mainland that would become the United States. His voyages were significant in that they opened the door for further exploration and the eventual establishment of European colonies in the Americas. The true discovery of the United States was a complex process that involved countless other explorers, settlers, and interactions with indigenous peoples over the centuries that followed Columbus's initial voyage. The establishment of the nation we know today as the United States was the result of this ongoing process. In essence, the discovery of America was a journey of exploration, of learning, and of understanding. It was a journey marked by courage, determination, and the relentless pursuit of new horizons. It was a journey that forever changed the course of human history. While the story of America's discovery is complex, it all began with a daring voyage across the Atlantic, forever changing the world's map.